Ladies and gentlemen, how many of you are joining the GMO, the fresh GMO debate? This time round, it's coming from Barack Obama's themselves. And what exactly is going on here? Auma Obama's sister have done two tweets today, and I have seen replies, the leaders of this country replying to those statements from Auma Obama, who is the sister to Barack Obama, the former president of the United States of America. It's about GMO. And I want us to look at her angle. It is very interesting because it's telling on what is behind this. Please, dear Kenyans, don't allow GMO to penetrate our markets. This is a crop that has to be bought to be planted. Seeds do not produce fruit, cereal, or vegetables. Think sterile. And cross-pollinate organic plants that mutate to GMO. Subsistent farming, lifeline of the poor endangered. Subsistent farming is farming for household consumption. Mostly what's done there, ule mashambani tu, you plant some, have some small piece of land, you plant your maize there, and it's mostly for consumption, not for commercial purposes. She continues to say, then we are in trouble. I thought we just bought the produce and that most farmers declined the one-way seeds. The millennium villages did succeed because, among other factors, many subsistent farmers opted out. Would love to start a conversation about GMO. Please share your thoughts. So he's asking you to share your thought. There is one understanding that is coming from that tweet that is also, for me, I had not seen that we had agreed that we were going to import the GMO produce here, be it maize and other crops, or maybe other products that are produced genetically modified organisms. But the discussion on the seed was never elaborated. And in fact, I remember when the journalist asks the president, he was responding in the context of maize being imported, or the products that are being imported. Just get a snippet of how the president responded.
I am a scientist. Yeah? Scientists wote wa taifa letu la Kenya. Every university in Kenya, every scientist in Kenya wanakubali ya kwamba GMO haina matatizo yoyote. South Africa, the whole of South Africa, 100% GMO. Marekani, 100% GMO. Nchi zingine, 100% GMO. Umesikia mtu amemea pembe huko South Africa kwa sababu alikula GMO? Ama amemea miguu? Ama wamama amemea ndevu? Nasikia watu wengine wanasema sijui nani atamea nini. You know, hii ni porojo na propaganda ya watu ambao hawataki tuwe na uwezo wa kuzalisha chakula ya kutosha. Mimi mwenyewe nimekula chakula ya GMO. Mimi nimemea matiti. Ama ile wanasemekana sijui nani atafanya nini, utakuwa na extra nini, you know, lazima tuambiane ukweli.
Now, what Kenyans know is that the issue of the seed was never well spoken about. And that is what Auma Obama is talking about, is the sister to Barack Obama. And people would ask, really, you know, this discussion about bringing GMOs here, I think we mostly spoke about it in the context of Kenya Kwanza because that ban was lifted. And remember when Bill Gates came in the country, the discussion was that part of what was his agenda here is the lobbying on the GMO. And he said in many occasions that he's been taking GMO. So to that extent, it was seen as if it was an American thing being pushed. Now, Auma Obama, who also shared lineage with the former president Barack Obama, who now the current president is, and I believe is still his closest ally, is coming out against that move. So what are you seeing? That as much as we may be lifting it, we may be having it, but it's more of an international thing, and there are many interests in that debate. So I've got a very interesting video here, and someone sent for me this video. This is what I use. I liken our leaders to this. And so that is why we can have a lot of the talking, but more actions or no action will be taken. And the people who make decisions, they don't care how it's going to affect the people. They just look at it in terms of the business value. And capitalists, that it's for, so long as it's about us, it's not about the people or whether it is going to serve the interest of the people. So that video, the way that journalist struggled to ask that guy the question, that leader the questions, is what is typical of what we have in this country. Now, this kind of this debate about GMO, I said was skewed because when it was introduced, the argument was we have food deficit. Actually, we have maize or cereals deficit. And that deficit was around 10,000 bags. But also looking at making our projections, looking at the March, May rains, we were not still able to produce enough to feed the nation. So the ban was lifted so that we can allow the influx of maize, which according to those, to the proponents, it was coming at a lesser cost, a more affordable cost compared to those that are not non-GMO. Of course, to some extent, they say that everything we've been consuming here is GMO. So that was, according to me, temporary. As we have that, we are constructing dams, we are subsidizing fertilizers, and we are making other interventions to make sure that we are food stable. So that when we are food stable, ultimately, we are going to make sure we are going to stop it. But according to what Auma Obama is saying, is that we've introduced the seeds. It's like we are bringing the seeds. And I think even when the GMO discussion was going on, I spoke in the context of the subsistent farming. Your farming in nyumbani, if the seeds are going to be patented or copyrighted, let me use the word copyrighted seed, but patented seeds. If you're going to use patented seeds, then that means anasema, unlike saizi ambapo home you can buy seeds, but as well bado unaweza tumia the fruit to get the seeds and replant. But in this one, every planting cycle, you will be going back to the shop to buy. And because you've started with it, it's also one that will be monopolistic in a manner. Now, when you create monopoly of that seed, number one, you're increasing the demand of that seed. If you convince people that this is the only thing that can work here, you are increasing the demand of that seed. When you increase the demand of that seed, what do you expect? The price is going to go high. So, and again, if it is on that GMO context, there is the other argument that it may not support mixed farming. Home, mtu atapanda mahindi, na hapo chini mahindi, kuna njugu, kuna maharagwe. Kuna beans. Is doing beans. So, that is helping because for them, anapata mahindi kidogo, before akingoja mahindi, atakuwa ametoa maharagwe, or akishatoa mahindi, yakona groundnuts there. So, mixed farming has always worked for people, especially for subsistence farming. I know many call it orthodox, but whether orthodox or non-orthodox, but it has always worked for in some places. So that monopoly for me is a challenge because not all of us, we are creating a demand that not all of us are going to access. Now, how about if you tried? It cannot be tried in large scale by the large scale farmers because a massive or rather a large-scale crop failure. There is one thing also called crop failure where you plant seeds that are incompatible with the soil and you plunge into crop failure. Crop failure will be a big threat to our granary. How about if that is it? That could still be the big secret that we're not seeing. We could bring this and actually bring it becomes compatible to our soil and the other factors of production here or other growth factors within our country. Then we plunge into crop failure, nationwide crop failure. What are we going to say about? Actually, the decision to boost or rather to scale up our maize production will go down, will actually depend on that import. That circle is still just revolving. So that's why I joined that conversation that if you want it, first, peleka galana kolalu. Peleka galana uko. We were still surviving. Don't even take it to Kitale. Go and do a test trial somewhere. In fact, the 10,000 acre that we are having in Galana Kulalo, we can take some 2 acres and try it out there as an experiment. And when it's rolled out, it should not be a national one. It should not be a nationwide rollout. I think the best practice is test and trials, so that hata ukiambia mkulima sababu hii umetumia na ilikuwa inakusaidia, ulikuwa unapata hii ingine, jaribu hii, so that as time goes people take the acceptance. It takes the natural course for people to come up and accept. Now, crop extinction can hurt subsistence farm where it just disappears. Just disappears that okay, hapa ulipanda GMO and it did this and this and it pays. When you try something else, it doesn't work. When you try something else, it doesn't work. What are you talking about? It will hurt because not at all times mtu atakuwa anataka pande mahindi. Lastly, the food supply actually was temporary as our fix. But if you're not sure, there is something that I'm reading from Auma Obama Street. By the way, she's a social justice activist and the founder of the Sauti Kuu. Sauti Kuu is in Nyang'oma Kogelo. That's my place. Ukitoka Nyang'oma Kogelo unateremka past the market center on your way to Ndori. She has a center there called Sauti Kuu. So one thing I see, there is another maybe US influential bodies in the US that are against that move, the GMO move, even in African context. And if you're not sure, we are serving the interest of the big boys. We are serving the interest, we are actually serving commercial interest packaged as food security intervention. In Kenya, we are looking at it as food intervention, food security intervention. But huko nje, this will be a commercial interest that we are serving. So the issue of the seeds, I don't know whether, okay, the seeds are international easy or what's going on, but that's what Auma Obama is saying, that I thought we were just bringing in the base already yenye washapanda, lakini sasa tuameleta seeds tupande, because that is going to be a bit disruptive. I don't know what's your take, but that is what Obama's sister is talking about. From my point, I think she's also speaking on behalf of some influential personalities, and this could even be the Barack Obama.